I love seltzer water, but with countless seltzer brands out there, I still can't decide on which one's my favorite. But unlike me, Barry Joseph knows what he likes.
I like Schweppes by itself as a plain clear seltzer, but with black cherry, thumbs down.
See, Barry's an expert on this beverage. He wrote a whole book about it called Seltzertopia, the extraordinary story of an ordinary drink. And on a Friday afternoon, I traveled to the industrial area of Brooklyn, New York, to meet Barry and do a little taste test with him.
All right, LaCroix, Guava, Sao Paulo. Is this how guava tastes in Sao Paulo? Let's see. Now that ain't bad. Excuse me. I like that.
All right, but I also wanted to know his thoughts on Perrier.
I drank this because I wanted to be nice to you, since you brought it to me. It is not bad, it's just not my thing. The bubbles aren't as sharp as I want. I like my seltzer pure, without any minerals in it.
Now, Barry might seem a little picky here, but the thing is that he's used to having pure seltzer, and he knows what he's talking about. He drinks seltzer that comes straight from a factory where it's produced. In fact, that's where we are today. And Barry had me try some.
Pretty strong. I like your face. It is. As they say here at the Brooklyn Seltzer Boys, good seltzer should hurt.
I'm Manolo Morales, and this is Atlas Obscura, a celebration of the world's strange, incredible, and wondrous places. In the last few years, seltzer has become nothing short of a phenomenon, but people have been drinking seltzer for thousands of years now. And today, we're visiting the last seltzer factory in New York City, the Brooklyn Seltzer Boys, a factory in Cypress Hills, Brooklyn, where the history of this simple drink is being preserved and made. In 2004, Barry wrote a product review for a website. And the only reason he did it was to get a free soda stream at home.
But that process of writing the review really changed my life. It set me on a course of becoming someone with expertise in knowing the 2,400-year history of seltzer, which of course was quite a challenge because I couldn't find anything written. There were no books about seltzer, no chapters about book and seltzers. It was something that was known by people in industry that was passed down from employee to employee, from generation in one family to another. And so what I had to do was talk to people. I defined the people who had that knowledge in their heads, in their family history, and were willing to share it with me.
Among the people Barry spoke to were seltzermen. Just think of them as milkmen, but instead of milk, they delivered seltzer.
Seltzermen were amazing. New York City used to have scores, maybe hundreds of seltzermen driving the streets of the city. If you lived in an apartment building, maybe your guy would come on Tuesday, but your neighbors would come on Wednesday, and the person above you would get theirs on Thursday. There was so much interest in getting a seltzer bottle delivered to your door that it could support all these seltzermen who in the early days had horses that would pull their carts that were full of these wooden crates full of 6 or 8 really full seltzer siphons, maybe 70 pounds. And they would then put them on their shoulders and go up and down the staircases, maybe 5, 6, 7 floors. Eventually those became trucks. And you only have a handful left today, but they're still around in New York City, driving to people's homes, dropping off the wooden crate with the full seltzer siphons and picking up the empties.
These days you won't find many seltzermen around, but Barry did find someone who comes from a long generation of this occupation. And he couldn't write his book, Seltzertopia, without including this family's legacy in the business.
So my great-grandfather Mo started delivering, I believe, in the late 1940s.
That's Alex Gumberg. His great-grandfather Mo was a taxi driver before becoming a seltzerman in Canarsie, Brooklyn.
He was delivering seltzer to people's houses. He had his own seltzer route with his own bottles, his own customers. And he was part of this co-op where a bunch of different seltzermen had access to this filling plant.
Then in 1953, Mo opened his own company called Gumberg Seltzer Works.
My grandfather took it over. My dad and my uncle took it over. And then when I came to the business in 2012, I didn't take over Gumberg Seltzer Works. I created my own delivery business called Brooklyn Seltzer Boys. That's what we are today.
Today, the Brooklyn Seltzer Boys deliver old-fashioned seltzer filled by Gumberg Seltzer Works. Their business is still in Brooklyn, but this time in Cypress Hills. When I visited the Seltzer Works for the first time, I was impressed by the 100-year-old machines in the back of the factory where all production takes place. There was something nostalgic about seeing them, especially in New York, where most of these production companies are gone. The space was wide and big. There were pipes running down the walls of the factory, crates of glass bottles stacked on top of each other. Everything was clean and well organized. And a few years ago, with the help of Barry, Alex added something new, a museum.
The museum is about the entire history of seltzer, going back 2,400 years. So we talk about LaCroix, we talk about White Claw. They're all part of the history of seltzer, which was never fixed. It's always changing, it's always innovating, and it's always maintaining its past at the same time, bringing it into the future.
Barry leads some of the museum tours where he explains the history of seltzer dating back to ancient Greece, and of course, the process of seltzer making.
All right, so we start with the water coming in, and it gets triple filtered. Then it's gonna get chilled. It's gonna get chilled to about 43 degrees. The colder it is, the more gas gets dissolved. What do we experience if there's more gas? It's sharper, it's more bubbly, right? Sometimes it hurts. So we wanna get the water pure.
And one other way they're keeping track of seltzer history is by sticking to siphon bottles.
So this glass siphon here says on the bottom, made in Czechoslovakia, because that was the name of the country at the time. They're 80 years old, they're 90 years old. And these bottles were made and bought by companies here in the US who would then label them on the side. So like this one here has the name of the Brooklyn-based seltzer company that made the seltzer, and it has their address as well. But then the top of the bottle, not the glass part, the tin head, that's made, I think, here in the United States, and it is etched with the name of the seltzer man who delivered that brand seltzer. So you have the country that made it on the bottom, the company on the side of the bottle that purchased it, and then the name of the seltzer man on the top who delivered it. That's why we say a seltzer siphon is history written in glass.
But the design of the bottle isn't just about aesthetics. Barry says it serves a valuable purpose.
A thick glassed siphon is designed to hold a higher level of carbonation than you can actually do in your regular 2-liter bottle of plastic seltzer you might get in a corner store. For seltzer aficionados, the sharper it is, the better. That's why you never want flat seltzer. So when you buy something in an aluminum can or a plastic bottle, it just can't contain seltzer at the same pressure, so it's just not made at that level. So if you don't like your seltzer highly pressurized, go ahead, get an aluminum can, get a plastic bottle. But if what you really want is the sharpest seltzer you can find, you have to get it from a classic Eastern European handcrafted glass siphon.
These bottles set them apart from any other business. But to get your hands on one may take some time. Here's Alex again.
We have people on our waiting list only because we have a finite amount of bottles in our stock. The guys are constantly taking old bottles off the shelves, cleaning them and, restoring them to put them back on the route. For every new case that they can make, every 10 bottles that they can make, and every wood box that my dad, who's actually currently working on a run of boxes right now, as soon as that box is ready, then we can schedule your first delivery. So it's about 2-3 month wait right now. For every customer that we onboard, it's kind of like an interview process. We want to make sure what the customer's intentions are with our bottles. We don't want them just sitting on a shelf for display. That's not what they're for. We want to make sure they're in use. We want to make sure that they're being rotated at least once a month so that the next customer can enjoy them. When customers hold on to bottles, it's a disservice to us because we can't A, make money, and B, let the next customer have those access to those bottles.
And the Brooklyn Seltzer Boys aren't planning to switch to aluminum or plastic bottles anytime soon. They will continue the tradition of seltzermen.
The fact that we're 4 generations, hopefully 5 one day, it's a nice feel-good story about it, that we're still here, still doing it. We get phone calls with thank yous that we're still in business. And that's one of the reasons why we launched our Brooklyn Seltzer Museum. And people come here just to see how the bottles are filled, to experience the history of seltzer, to see that we're still here. And people get a kick out of, A, learning the history, and just B, seeing that these machines still work, they still operate in this modern world, which is pretty incredible. We take a lot of pride in that.
Our podcast is a co-production of Atlas Obscura and SiriusXM Podcast. The people who make our show include Dylan Ferris, Doug Baldinger, Camille Stanley, Johanna Mayer, Amanda McGowan, Casey Holford, and Luz Fleming. Our theme music is by Sam Tyndall. If you like our show, please give us a good review and rating wherever you get your podcast. And make sure to follow us so you never miss an episode. I'm Manolo Morales. Hasta luego.
Sirius XM Podcasts.